Before the age of men, the immortals faced extinction. We know Zeus as the king of gods, untouchable and supreme. But there was a moment when Olympus trembled, when the sky turned black, and the earth herself gave birth to an army designed to kill the divine. This wasn't just a rebellion, it was the Gigantomachy, the war where gods bled, heroes rose, and the cosmos nearly collapsed into chaos. To understand the sheer magnitude of this conflict, we must look into the dark heart of Gaia, the primordial Mother Earth. Following the Titanomachy, where Zeus defeated his father Cronus, the Titans were cast into the abyss of Tartarus. Gaia heard the screams of her imprisoned children echoing from the depths, and was consumed by a cold, vengeful rage. She did not forgive Zeus for his arrogance. In her fury, she conspired to create a new breed of offspring, creatures born not of love, but of pure vengeance. From the blood of castrated Uranus, or a union with Tartarus, the earth began to swell with terrible new life. The giants were unlike anything the cosmos had seen. While the Titans were godlike and noble in stature, the giants were monstrous manifestations of raw power. Mythographers describe them with hair like thick forests, beards unkempt and wild, and legs that were not human limbs, but coiling serpents. They were born with armor already gleaming on their skin and spears in their hands. They were vast, tall enough to pile mountains upon mountains to reach the stars. This was not a political coup. This was an elemental uprising. Their roar alone was enough to silence the winds and shake the foundations of Olympus. As the threat loomed, the Olympians prepared for war, but a terrifying prophecy paralyzed them. The oracle declared that the giants were immune to the death blows of any god. No matter how much lightning Zeus threw, the giants could not be killed by divine hands alone. They needed a mortal ally. Fear rippled through the divine ranks. Zeus, thinking quickly, forbade the sun and moon to shine, plunging the world into darkness to harvest a magical herb that might grant the giants invulnerability. He destroyed it all to deny them that power, then called upon his son, the mortal hero Heracles. The battle began at Phlegra, the burning lands. The giants did not march, they weaponized the landscape. They tore up mountain peaks, Thessaly, Pelion, Ossa, and hurled them at the heavens. The Olympians descended to meet them in a cataclysmic clash. Zeus led the charge, his lightning turning sand to glass, but every time a god struck a giant down, the creature would stir, heal, and rise again. The gods realized the prophecy was literal. They could incapacitate the enemy, but they could not finish the job. They needed the final strike of Heracles to sever the giant's tether to life. The first major duel involved Alcyoneus, the greatest of the giants, alongside Porphyrion. Alcyoneus was a tactical nightmare. As long as he fought on the soil of his homeland, Phlegra, he was completely immortal. Heracles fired an arrow, piercing the giant, but Alcyoneus merely laughed as the earth healed him. It was Athena who saw the solution. She advised Heracles to move him. The hero grappled the massive beast, dragging him across the border of the land.
The moment Alcyoneus lost contact with his native soil, his immortality vanished, and Heracles ended him with a club strike that shattered the earth. Meanwhile, the king of giants, Porphyrion, launched a direct assault on Hera. This attack was fueled by a supernatural lust instilled by Zeus to distract him, or perhaps pure rage. As Porphyrion tore at Hera's divine robes, ready to disgrace the Queen of Heaven, Zeus's fury peaked. The sky ripped open, and a master boat struck Porphyrion, stunning him and bringing him to his knees. But a stunned giant is not a dead giant. Before he could recover, Heracles stepped in, firing an arrow straight into the giant's heart, finishing what the king of gods had started. The war spilled across the oceans. Polybotes, a sea giant, fled from the wrath of Poseidon. The chase tore across the Aegean Sea, creating massive tsunamis. Polybotes reached the island of Kos, thinking he had found safety. But Poseidon, the earth-shaker, was not in a merciful mood. He shattered a massive chunk of the island with his trident, a piece that would become the volcanic island of Nisseros, and dropped the entire landmass onto Polybotes. The giant was not just killed, he was buried beneath the geography of Greece, trapped forever under the crushing weight of the earth he once tried to weaponize. The violence escalated as the other Olympians joined the fray. Athena faced Enceladus, ripping the island of Sicily from the sea floor and hurling it upon him, trapping him beneath what is now Mount Etna. Meanwhile, Hephaestus fought with molten iron, hurling searing ingots at the giants, while Dionysus, the god of wine, struck them down with his thyrsus. Even the Fates, usually distant observers, entered the physical fray with bronze clubs. It was a total mobilization of the divine pantheon, proving that order would fight tooth and nail to survive against chaos. As the dust settled, the remaining giants were cornered. They had been systematically dismantled by the cooperation of god and mortal. Zeus unleashed a final relentless barrage of lightning, scorching the earth and blinding the few survivors. Heracles, moving with the efficiency of an executioner, moved from body to body, firing his arrows dipped in the Hydra's poisonous blood to ensure that no regeneration was possible. The earth of Phlegra was soaked in black blood, and the serpentine legs of the giants finally stopped moving. The rebellion was crushed. The prophecy had been fulfilled. The Gigantomachy cemented Zeus's rule. It proved the Olympians were not just usurpers, but the true maintainers of cosmic order. However, Gaia's rage was not extinguished. From the blood of the giants, she would eventually birth Typhon, the ultimate monster, for one last attempt at the throne. But for now, Olympus was safe. The gods returned to their golden palaces, and Heracles had taken his first step to apotheosis. The war was over, but the scars on the earth remained, forming the volcanoes and islands of Greece we see today.